The following is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, Deadites. Before I forget, y'all voted for Deku to tell Enji about both One for All and the Super Soldier Serum. He was taken aback at first, but he of course had some choice words to share with Toshinori about why Nana had to die. Of course, Toshinori wasn't mad at Enji or anything. He didn't blame him because Enji was in his feelings at that moment. He adored Nana just as much as he did. But that is for later. Let's get started with part 3 of What If Deku Was the Punisher. Now I left you off with Special Agent Frank Castle about to speak with Deku, so here we go. Look, kid, I respect you too much to give you anything but the full story. So, let's get inside, yeah? The three men head inside the house and enter a sitting room. So, you need me to save a VIP. Who is it? Frank sips his tea. Tony Stark and Richard Rhodes were kidnapped by a group referring to themselves as the Ten Rings. Yes, I went there. Normally, I wouldn't be discussing these matters with someone who doesn't work for the US government, but since I'm not here and we aren't having this conversation at all, I don't have a problem with that. Deku and Endeavor are used to this kind of talk and weren't shaken by it in the slightest. The reason I'm here today is to enlist you. I believe you have a stake in this, young Mr. Todoroki. This man here is said to be the leader of the Rings. Frank dangled a carrot for Deku to bite on, and once he saw it, he bit with fervor. Said carrot was a picture of the ringleader, pun intended. Now, how was he alive? He was dead center in that explosion. I checked. His body was splattered across the floor and in multiple pieces. And he looked to his future son-in-law. Izuku was oddly calm and centered about, and a smile was on his face. So he's alive. Damn, he's one ugly son of a bitch. I'm guessing he has some sort of a quirk that activates on his death. Those are the worst. He'd be right on the money on that one. The dude had a quirk called Dangerous Zombie. So long as a single shred of him, and when I say shred, I mean as in an organ short of a heart, I don't think that'll work, but there are limits. So long as a single shred of him survives, he can regenerate from that and keep on trucking. But of course, they don't know that at the moment. Izuku was smiling from ear to ear. Good. I get to kill the jackass again. I'll help you in any way you need, Castle. But Jigsaw is mine. Frank nodded and Fuyumi knocked on the door and entered with snacks. Momo was staying at the Todoroki estate for a few days to establish a bond of sorts with Fuyumi. They're going to be sister wives after all, so they have to learn to at least get along. Otherwise, it's going to be rocky marriage. Now, speaking of Momo, she plopped right down on Deku's lap and ate a few cookies. Fuyumi took a step back when she felt the murderous aura coming from her man. Momo, on the other hand, was completely and totally unfazed by it. She could sense it, but... So, who are you gonna kill, darling?
And do you want my help making the instruments of their demise?
Everyone did a double take short of Deku.
Momo Yayarozu, I love you.
Needless to say, he took her up on that offer. While he could make things on his own, having his honey's help really was a boon. Less work for him. Of course, the adults in the room and Fuyumi would be rather taken aback by how nonchalant Momo was about aiding in Izuku's murderous rampage. However, she shook it off. In her mind, she was being a good wife by helping her darling towards his goals. That, and she knew whoever it was he was going to kill deserved it. Keep in mind that Izuku has had a massive influence on Momo, and in this instance is why she wanted to be a hero in the first damn place.
So, is father-in-law helping you in on this mission?
Izuku looked to an Enji as if asking a question. Endeavor nodded his head.
I assume you have information on the layout of their operation, Mr. CIA.
Momo asked, and once again surprise rang in the eyes of everyone there except for Deku. Frank was the first to regain their composure, however. Why, yes, I do, little lady. Momo's eyes was twitching in annoyance. Ever since she had become Deku's bride-to-be, she had found being treated like a child annoying. But due to her age, that can't really be helped, and she knows it. Doesn't mean she has to like it, though. Frank's intel said that the rings were held up in a derelict building in the city. Said derelict building would later become a certain bar, but that's a story for another time. The only reason they haven't really done anything is legally they can't. This has to be taken care of by not the American government. Who better to deal with this problem than the blazing hero Endeavor and the militant hero? Now, I know technically Endeavor's name is the Flame Hero, but I think Blazing Hero sounds a whole lot cooler. So we're going with it. Be clear, your objective is not Jigsaw. I know how it feels to want to kill someone with every fiber of your being. And apparently, so does your little lady over there. Still not comfortable with these two in the room. What you have to say to us, you can say in front of them. They know the drill and will tell no one. We can neither confirm nor deny that you are not the first suit to approach us. Frank asks if Deku was bringing All Might. Hell no. He's way too much of a white knight for what needs to be done. The rings need killing, and I'm going to be doing it. They most likely want Miss Stark to make them something and are using Mr. Rhodes as a hostage to get her to comply. Obadiah Stane should have paid these fools by now or sent someone to rescue her. But I think he wants Stark Enterprises for himself. I've met the creep, and I don't like the idea of him running the show. Deku sighed at that last line. Frank says he's on the money with that, and that was another reason why his involvement can be told to no one. As a matter of fact, he's just here on vacation time, touring the Triskelion. S.H.I.E.L.D. had been trying to recruit him for ages, and this was a good cover for him. So, I'll leave you guys with a small poll for this. Does Frank actually join S.H.I.E.L.D. or does he stay CIA? While having Frank in S.H.I.E.L.D. means that they'll probably meet more often, but still. Frank takes his leave after telling them that this would need to be done tonight. Once he was gone, Deku grabs Momo and enters the vault. Yes, you heard me right. She was amazed by what she saw. This space was connected to her darling and was actively creating things. She saw something in the background.
Darling, is that a...
Deku put a finger on her lips. Yes, it is. But it ain't done and would be overkill for this mission. So it's mothballed for a while. Having trouble coming up with a power core that's not nuclear. But if I can come up with something that isn't that, I might be able to get it to work. But for now, mothballed. Momo pulls him down to her level and kisses him. And I mean really kisses him. Not some little peck on the lips. Then strips down to reveal swimwear. Remember, what she makes comes from her skin. So whatever she made would essentially, depending on the size, would render her pretty much practically naked anyway, which is why she wears a swimsuit, at least while she's in the Todoroki estate. She figured that she'd be helping her darling make things anyway. And that's one major strength between creation and fabricator. Well, she can just make something on the spot, Deku here has to make the pieces necessary to assemble it first. It is a fabricator. So, it takes time, effort, and energy to do such a thing. Which is why, when he's sleeping, he's making a lot of components in the background. He just has to know what he wants. And he can cue the stuff up. Which is what he does, usually. We all know that Momo has to burn fat to do her creations. Deku doesn't have to do that. But, however, he does have to do a lot of creation to get to the point. To make a gun, he needs to literally make a gun. So he has to have every last piece made and ready. Now, Momo could just flat out make the pieces necessary, and all Izuku would have to do is touch said pieces, boom, gun, or bam, car. But at the same point in time, it does drain her a lot. Less about that, more to the story though.
You are incredible, Izuku Todoroki, and I love you with all my heart. Now let's make your instruments of destruction.
I owe you some backstory for this, so here we go. Izuku discovered that he could go into the vault at a young age, but before he got One for All, bringing someone in with him was beyond him. He's tried that with Fuyumi to show her how his quirk worked, and nada. You're probably curious what Momo being here does for her. For starters, she can make more things faster, and it takes longer for her to get fatigued from it. Consider it as if a speedster was in the Speed Force, or in this case, a creator was in the creation space. I named something to which I almost named the vault. The two lovebirds get to work while flirting with each other so much that I am not about to write all that. However, one of Momo's lines was so promiscuous that it earned her this line from Deku's mouth. Stupid sexy lowly. Of course, Momo heard that, but didn't respond.
Darling thinks I'm sexy. Yay!
While Deku could have made a lot of what he made with Momo alone, having Momo's input on things was nice. While they were doing this, they'd give each other pointers like, I do it this way, I do this that way, and yada yada. So Momo's learning, and so is Izuku. So there's that. It was good to have another creative mind in the space with him. Izuku will have to find a way to allow Momo to get access to a small part of the vault on her own. But right now, that's beyond him. But who knows? Maybe he can learn to go beyond what he thinks his limits truly are. But that possibility would have to wait. When the two emerge from the vault, they are greeted with the rest of the family being present. They have a small meal. Momo's sitting on, well, Deku's left side and currently sitting on Reina's fire side. Yes, you heard me right. Reina. Reina would be Shoto. So, Deku has a little sister. And one thing here. Thanks to, well, Deku being the Punisher and being who he is, there is no water incident. So, their Todoroki family is still a happy family. Because Enji is, once again, being chill. So, there's that. Now, one of the things that Momo and Deku were working on was a gift for Enji. And I think he's gonna like it. Hey, Pops. Momo and I made this for you. Go try it on. Basically, Endeavor gets his new suit extremely early. However, the material the suit is made out of changes since this is, well, a Marvel property. The fabric portion is military grade vibranium, and the metal portions are made of forged adamantium. So yeah, this suit ain't burning by Enji's flames. Vibranium has a melting point of 5,475 degrees Fahrenheit. And while the melting point of adamantium is significantly lower than that, once it's been forged, it is done. Which is why Deku did that. Deku wanted to do the same for his suit, but Momo wanted to make it for him. He wasn't about to tell his wife no in this instance. And I know I'm using the term wife slightly loosely here, but as far as these three are concerned, as in by three, obviously Momo, Deku, and Fuyumi, they are already hitched. The paperwork has been signed and everything. They just need to wait, because they will be married. Come hell or high water. The suit was black on silver. The suit part of it was vibranium, and the mask was coated in adamantium. There was a custom fit breathable padding for Izuku's comfort in the facial area, and he was wearing combat boots. He was rocking sap gloves, also adamantium on vibranium, or rather vibranium on adamantium. Now that they were suited up, our boys were ready to kick some ass and take absolutely no names. I don't think I need to explain what Tony was actually building now, do I? So let's get to her quirk. Reactor. If you're thinking about Aoyama, then you're right. However, it's on her chest, obviously, and has been there since birth. 3 guesses what's powering her armor. Tony knows Rhodey is alive, and the only reason she hasn't blown this pop stand would be him. The screams of Richard Rhodes could be heard, and that is the only reason she knew he lived. Once our guys heard those screams, the covert plan went out the window. A knock was heard at the door. Camino Pizza. That made them stop torturing Rhodey for a moment, and the one idiot that actually opened the door was burned alive. Deku followed up by throwing 2 kunai that froze their targets on impact. Good thing he had Rei and Reina give him samples of their ice. Deku frees Rhodey. Can you stand? We still gotta save Miss Stark. Rhodey gets up. Know how to use this? Deku hands Rhodey a shotgun, to which he racks. Once Tony heard gunfire coming from multiple directions, she knew it was time to take action. However, by the time she got there and made some mayhem herself, most of the action was done already. Tony goes to hug Rhodey, and Izuku is intrigued by her armor. Miss Stark, may I see that armor for a moment? Deku asked very politely.
Knock yourself out.
Deku did a full analysis of the armor, meaning he broke it down. Tony grunted, but a bit, but it's not like she needed the thing right now with those two here anyway. Now that the Punisher knows what it is, he upgrades it to Mark III pretty much, and also makes Tony a War Machine armor. And now then, like I said, since it was basically made to work with the reactor, he's gonna touch Tony's chest. This is not sexual, Miss Stark.
Sure it isn't.
I'm a made man, Tony.
I just needed that. Oh, right.
So, needless to say, the War Machine armor is being powered by a different variation of the arc reactor, which is on Tony's chest.
Huh. Cool. I've been trying to make one of those for years.
Well,
I kinda cheated. Yeah, I noticed.
so Deku pretty much, or rather, no, not Deku. Let's go with code names here. Punisher hooked the War Machine up with every weapon he could possibly make. Railgun, cannon version, miniguns on the arms. He made some compensators to go with it. I know that I just stated that this takes time, but remember, he made a lot of stuff with Momo. So, guess where most of that went? Into the War Machine armor. I mean, he really liked the Iron Man armor, but that War Machine was his magnum opus. It's like, oh, he's thinking it is beautiful. And he has to give it to Mr. Rhodes as a gift. Because, as good as he is, and he's damn good, Rhodey knows what he's doing with that, something like that, because it's a weapon. Rhodey's quirk is called Master of War. Ever seen Zero no Tsukaima? Rhodey's basically the Gundalfer. If it's a weapon, he can use it very well to mastery level. Now Deku would have tried to make a suit for himself, but more baddies came rushing at them. Endeavor launched a wall of flame. The others picked off the stragglers. Punisher made a primal roar when he saw Jigsaw and riddled him with bullets from a railgun. He got in closer with his laser knife. How are you still alive? You were splattered all over that damn jib. Are you telling me my dad died for nothing? You be right on that one, Punisher. My quirk is called Dangerous Zombie, and so long as a single piece of me survives, I'ma keep on trucking. I reckon you want revenge for your daddy, so go ahead. I'll be back, even if you have your paw over there burn me to cinders. Deku makes a laser version of the Lancer and chops this fool into pieces. He then touches the floor and changes the entire floor, as in the level they're on, into an incinerator. Yo, Pops, light the spark. Endeavor smiles. This is for Hisashi and Inko, jackass. And they walk away. No one survived. Except for Jigsaw, of course, and one flunky of his. He's not some comic book villain that goes spouting their plans. He knew he was as good as dead. He was just stalling for time. Izuku and Enji were so enraged that they didn't notice that he was missing a hand. And said hand was being taken away by one of his goons. And it was shaking with life. Don't worry, boss. I'll get you out of here. Said goon would later be known as Mr. Compress. But that is a story for later. Rest easy, Deadites. And remember, the night is ours.